A joint police and Barbados Defense Force operation at Crab Hill, St. Lucie. One home destroyed and another damaged in a fire at Sion Hill, St. James. And the RDC pushing for loan repayments.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I am Ryan Broom with the Friday, October 12th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story, police accompanied by Army personnel from the Barbados Defense Force descended on the Crab Hill community in St. Lucie today. The apparent lockdown was a show of force in a district that has been hit by gun violence in recent times. Orlison Broom has more.
Just behind me is one of the police checkpoints set up here in Crab Hill, St. Lucie since early this morning. It's part of a massive operation mounted by the police, supported by the Barbados Defense Force, in the wake of the latest spate of shootings in the area. This checkpoint, set up at Content St. Lucie, just outside of the Crab Hill police station, was one of the first indications to motorists that something was happening in the community that over the last few years has become infamous for its gun violence. In fact, in the last few weeks alone, one man was shot dead in Crab Hill and several others were injured in a spate of separate shootings in the area. Police have charged several men, including 40-year-old Andre Jackman, or Lord Evil, a notorious resident of Stroud Bay in Crab Hill, with a number of gun-related crimes. Jackman is also accused of inciting two men to engage in conduct that endangered life. Well, all of this was followed up by today's operation, which saw police, backed by soldiers, setting up checkpoints at all of the entries and exits into the expansive Northern District. Reports indicated that they searched everything from cars to public service vehicles and even children's school bags during that time. Residents spoke to CBC on condition of anonymity, explaining they feared reprisal. Now, for the most part, they didn't seem too bothered by the exercise, one of them telling CBC lawmen were only doing their jobs. A woman said it was about 5 a.m. when she looked outside her window and saw the largest police presence she's ever seen in one place. A man said they went from house to house and stopped vehicles, carrying out very thorough searches, which he did not think was a bad thing. There was one woman, however, who thought the action had gone overboard. According to her, police were digging up homes and harassing people. When contacted, Acting Public Relations Officer Sergeant Michael Blackman said he would issue a statement on the action. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Thanks, Lisa. And that statement has come. Acting Police PRO Michael Blackman says at least 4 wanted people are in custody as they continue efforts to prosecute those involved in the recent murder and shootings in Crab Hill. He says about 100 soldiers and officers were involved in today's operation, which started at 2 this morning. In other news, one home was razed, leaving several people homeless, and another was damaged after a fire in Sion Hill, St. James this morning. 11 fire officers, along with 3 fire tenders, responded to the blaze. Kenneth Payne, who lives in the area, says he returned home just in time to see the house ablaze. Smoke from the blaze also affected visibility on the nearby highway, causing a backup of traffic.
This morning I went to take out the cow. So just as I come back here, my nephew telling me that a house up there on fire. So when I get back, before I get to the corner, I see the house on fire. Quick like that. Well, we went to help move out the next door neighbor from the church because the above house they already glassed on fire, so you can go there.
In other news, Elder Affairs Minister Cynthia Ford wants to see the establishment of a senior business trust. She says the island has a wealth of talent among its senior citizens, which could see them not only being productive, but making money.
You know, we have a youth business trust, and I know that there's great quality I say that yours is similar or even surpasses some of what we see that is made and produced right here on this island. And so I want to recommend, Miss Wilson, you and your board and others have it. But if we have gone to the extent to establish an elder affairs department, then we can go to the next level, because it says that all of the skills and the experience and the interest will come together in one place, because this is what I call buy local.
Ms. Ford's comments came after she saw the impressive work displayed at the Seniors Recreational Activities Program Art and Craft Exhibition at the Kurt Courtney Blackman Grand Saal this morning. The participants were presented with certificates from students of Harrison College, something Ms. Ford says she was proud to see, as it showed the link between the older and younger generations. She says the Seniors Recreational Activities Program, which started in 1990, has now grown to 18 centers, and more than 400 seniors participate in the various activities.
The program has moved from traditional craft, such as crochet, basketry, and embroidery, to soap and jewelry making, if you please, as well as other diverse and functional products which you see exhibited here today.
Barbados Association of Retired Persons, or BARP, is giving government time to make good on its promises to address the impact of its economic measures on pensioners and senior citizens. President Ed Bushell says BARP held discussions with government since August and left those talks with the feeling that special provisions would be made for senior citizens.
Once the detailed information came out, we saw that there had been some special arrangements for seniors. However, we felt that because we were now aware of individual cases and a lot of other cases and the particular hardships that were caused, we again wrote the Prime Minister outlining our concerns about these areas and again making recommendations as to what we thought could be done. So we are very, very pleased that the Prime Minister has responded the way she has, that she has indicated that would give her a couple of weeks, and she's going to take a serious look at the plight that this particular program has put the majority of seniors in.
He made the comments as executive producer of the Golden Soca show. Peter Boyce donated proceeds from this year's Golden Soca event to the BARP Charitable Trust. Chairman of the trust, Madam Justice Elnith Kentish, says its principal objective is to help members when they fall into dire financial circumstances. She says they've also been trying to help provide postgraduate scholarships in geriatrics and gerontology.
This is a growth area, and unfortunately we have not had an applicant for this year. So we do have some funds, and we are urging people to get involved in this area, because in the next 20-30 years we will have a serious problem with our aged.
The University of the West Indies is taking all steps to ensure its staff, programs and campuses have been accredited. Vice Chancellor Professor Sir Hilary Beckles says staff positions are advertised globally, and as such the university screens all applicants carefully. Thanks to that system, he said they've spotted people who in the past tried to present false qualifications and documents. His comments come in the wake of the ongoing scandal with the offshore Washington University of Barbados operating at the Casa Grande Hotel.
We do scrutinize. We do write to institutions, yes, to validate and verify these kinds of CVs that have come before us. All of these investigations are carried out. I remember being exposed to that myself when the registry sent to the university in England where I graduated to say, can we please have a copy of the certificate that this gentleman claimed to have? So all of us, not only those from other countries, but even those of us from the Caribbean who study overseas, we do verify.
Meanwhile, UWI Cafel Campus Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Udine Barreto, says the campus takes its reputation seriously.
And how we maintain that reputation and ethics on the ground is through quality assurance and institutional accreditation. We guarantee quality assurance in our examination processes by the way we have examinations conducted. So our students, we can guarantee the value of the degrees they have because of the examination process. For our faculty, we have very rigorous peer assessment processes so that to be promoted, your work has to go out for external review. We have to have the students' assessment of your teaching. We have to have heads and department. In terms of the institution, we do institutional accreditation, so we evaluate whether you have fitness for purpose.
The 45th anniversary of the National Independence Festival of Creative Arts, or NIFCA, will have something very special for NIFCA Dance this year. Cultural Officer for Dance, Alicia Payne-Hurley, says there will be 2 finals nights this time around.
One night competition and one night a very special 45th anniversary showcase where you get to see those competitors once again, this time in a show setting, as well as the juniors. So this will be the first time that you have that collaboration of both the juniors and the seniors on one night. The juniors normally perform on the junior night. So that special 45th anniversary showcase is not to be missed. It's always a sold-out show that is a testament to the talent and the development that's happening. We have schools, we have community groups.
Now, Scotiabank is sponsoring the event for the 5th year, and Customer Experience Manager Sharon Small says they will continue to support initiatives promoting the well-being of young people.
It focuses on persons, especially it focuses on youth, and helps them to discover their full potential through creative arts, which we think is a fantastic initiative because development of youth is a focal point for Scotiabank. We believe it's important to invest in our youth. It's a crucial component to community prosperity. Globally, we have our corporate social responsibility programs, and one of the focal points is youth. Our programs aim to touch the lives of young persons and to help them realize their full potential.
The Bridgetown Port has copped the highly coveted Multi-Purpose Port of the Year Award 2018, emerging the big winner from among 12 competing ports across the Caribbean and Latin America. The announcement was made during the banquet and awards closing ceremony of the just concluded 2018 Caribbean Shipping Association 48th Annual General Meeting and Conference held in Panama City. Chief Executive Officer of Barbados Port Incorporated, David Jean-Marie, says the award is a fitting testimony to the progress they made in 2017 in enhancing their performance and productivity, the expansion of their transshipment business, and the implementation of energy efficiency initiatives. The CSA's Port Awards competition aims to promote the development and increased efficiency of port operations. It has served as a driving force for regional ports and terminal operators, encouraging and stimulating the development of best practices through the recognition of the outstanding performance of ports in key areas. Now, prior to this 2018 award, the Bridgetown Port won the Port of the Year award 6 times between 1992 and 2003. Well, the business of cannabis will be the center of robust discussion when BIBA hosts a public forum on the topic at the Central Bank of Barbados on October 23rd. It will be part of International Business Week. BIBA President Julia Hope expects a standing room only audience for the discussion themed Looking into the Future of Cannabis, a New High.
The panelists include Steve Narain, who's a medical marijuana research specialist from Canada, and from Barbados, our own Dr. Alana Griffith, Dr. Damien Cohall, and attorney Douglas Trotman. The moderator is media and communication specialist Julius Gittins. Get there early, it's going to garner a lot of interest.
More young men are receiving treatment for substance abuse problems, and for many, their first taste of the substance came while they were still in primary school. Our Sharika Griffith recently sat down with the Director of Clinical Services at the Substance Abuse Foundation, and she filed this report.
There's been a lot of talk about getting young men off the blocks and helping them to find jobs or even start their own businesses. But these efforts are being hampered because more and more of these young men are battling addiction to substances, both legal and illegal. Director of the Substance Abuse Foundation, Angela Seeley, says as a result, the first 9 months of the year at the St. John facility have been very busy.
We've had at least 18 men, and we've had about 7 women. So we've been quite busy, and the population this time around has changed significantly from older to a much younger population. And when I say younger, maybe from 18 and 20, 35, because last year the population was about 65, 70.
Ms. Seeley says for many, the drugs of choice include alcohol, cocaine, and marijuana.
The marijuana is not the marijuana that you would have seen from before, because it's being mixed with so many different things, and you're seeing the marijuana-induced psychosis.
What's even more alarming is the fact that several clients indicated they started using while they were still very young. Ms. Seeley is appealing to parents, especially those with children just entering secondary school, to pay closer attention to what they're doing.
Look for the behavior changes. You know your child was this way, and all of a sudden, they've gone to school and, they're closing the door and they don't want to have a conversation with you, whereas it was so much easier before, and all of a sudden you see a shift. So now instead of wondering, like, oh, that's just a boy, or he's going through growing pains. It's not growing pains. Look and see what the changes are and talk to your children.
She also wants people to understand that addiction is a chronic illness which will not magically be cured by a stint in rehab.
It just doesn't go away. And because you've had a relapse after you've been out of the program, doesn't mean that you can't come back, because there's still things that you need to learn. And keeping in mind that it may not just be the drug. There's probably underlying issues that they've never dealt with. And if they don't deal with those underlying issues, it will deal with them at some point in time, because remember, this is life. And there's no one road map, and anything is possible. Anything can happen, and it can throw you off.
At present, there are 36 men and 12 women receiving treatment at the Substance Abuse Foundation. Sharika Griffith, Cbc News.
Thanks, Sharika. Well, despite some setbacks from recent fires at the old Ministry of Health complex on Jemmets Lane, the city, the Barbados Family Planning Association is fully operational. Executive Director Anderson Langdon says the family planning reopened on September 1st and is expanding its services. However, he also says that space is an issue and the association therefore is seeking a new home. Mr. Langdon was a guest on CBC TV 8's Morning Barbados.
We were already in too small a space for what we were offering. So again, we are concerned that, the space that we're in, and we're seeking a building. We've been seeking support from Corporate Barbados.
So where are you right now?
We're in the rest of the area where the blaze occurred.
That was not affected?
That was not affected directly by the blaze. But we had to deal with some of the environmental fallout of having the blaze in that area. And we wanted to serve the Barbadian public in the best possible way, so we didn't rush in terms of what we wanted to do. We made sure the environment was safe. We made sure that we could provide all the services that we can, and our clients would always be happy in how they're served.
Meanwhile, Mr. Langdon gave the assurance that prices for services at the facility will be affordable.
We're subsidized services with the help of the government of Barbados, and we want to continue in that vein. We want to continue our youth programs, our youth interventions that we had, improve on those. We want to have wider outreach to the public and to those who need the information in terms of sexual and reproductive health and rights, and also continue our work in advocacy as it relates to those things that are also fall into that gambit.
In other news now, 2018 has been a good year for one northern business, and from all indications, 2019 is set to begin on a high note as well. Sharika Griffith has that story.
At a time when many local businesses are crying out for relief from rising taxes, Little Good Harbour is holding its own. The Northern Hotel, located in Sherman, St. Lucie, is home to the popular Fish Pot restaurant. Operations Manager Trevor Paris says both the hotel and restaurant have had a very good year, which is expected to continue into the winter season.
We are actually, I'd say 85% going into the winter season. Fish pot bookings are outstanding so far. We are fully booked for Christmas Day and for All Year's Night. Some people call it New Year's Eve as well. We are looking very promising for mid-December up to the end of January 2019.
This, he says, is in spite of the room and product development levies introduced by the new administration.
I don't think that the taxes will really affect us that much, but because we have put a lot of work into preparing a new menu for the winter season as well. We have done staff training, which is continuous over the last few months as we approach 2019. And I think in order to maintain your standards, you must keep your service levels up. And training is the key to success.
This is a philosophy Mr. Paris hopes would be adopted elsewhere in the tourism sector to improve on what he calls poor service etiquette. He says taxi drivers, for example, need to improve in this area.
They have some very good guys, but then there's some guys who do not have that knack or understand what a client needs. You must anticipate what a client needs before they arrive, and it don't happen in Barbados. It don't happen. We got a serious service issue that needs to be addressed as soon as we can.
The property recently closed for 5 weeks, during which time some of the suites were spruced up while new fittings were installed. Mr. Paris says, like other coastal properties, beach erosion continues to be a concern.
For about 4 weeks we lost the beach, but the beach is actually back in its glory. We are not quite sure what's going to happen over the next few months, but it looks very promising. To compare to years, let's say 5-6 years ago, the beach have improved where the side is concerned. But for how long it's going to do like that, we are not quite sure because we have no control of the elements.
Mr. Paris is also hopeful for improvements to the roads and infrastructure in nearby Speightstown. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.